Hello, everybody, and welcome to Helen's Dynamis Learning's Lunch and Learn series. And today we were having some technical difficulties with the camera and microphone. It took almost all day to get this done, and we figured it out. So I'm coming on live now to get this done today on Tuesday the 9th, as promised. So we're going to talk today about SAT, ACT prep without the family stress. So we all know that the SAT, ACT can definitely, that season can quickly basically turn into some tension at home, right? Arguments about studying. I'm sure some of you might relate to this. Procrastination, pressure, burnout. Ask yourself, does test prep sometimes become a battle at your kitchen table? Raise your hand. I've seen it. Do you feel like you care more about the test than your teen does? I've seen many parents talk more about it and say that the child doesn't care as much. So, stress, I want parents to know stress does hurt performance. Overwhelmed brains basically do not perform well. So please keep that in mind, parents. Chronic stress impacts memory and focus. If we think about ourselves, and if we get stressed about things, then that does impact our performance and our focus. Pressure can reduce motivation as well. So we want to make sure we're staying positive around this whole thing about trying to get our children to prep well in advance for a big test like this, the SAT and ACT. So some signs you may start seeing, parents, are avoidance, procrastination, emotional shutdown. They refuse to do it at all. Irritability, all these kind of things you may see. Students perform best when preparation feels structured and manageable, not overwhelming. I think we can relate to this because if we are waiting to the last minute to get things done ourselves as adults, then we know what that feels like. So figured children definitely feel it that way and then some because they're not as used to waiting to the last minute to do things possibly of this magnitude. So another point I want to make is that parents should be coaches, not constant managers. Let me repeat that. Parents should be coaches, but not constant managers. And the shift from nagging to support is a good idea. If a lot of times I think when moms call me and ask about SAT and ACT prep, they immediately realize that they are nagging, or they kind of lay it out this way that their child, or especially their young man at the house, is not listening to them anymore. So that is basically what we're talking about here. Helping students create systems is the best way to go, parents. If they're working possibly, and then they're also going to school, they may be involved in sports, try to set up some little blocks of time with them in a calendar. Sit down with them and block out some time where they can find it so that they can study for the SAT, ACT, because it does take quite a bit of prep time. Collaborative planning is a good way to do this. Again, find out what's the best way for them to lay out their schedule, look and see what they're doing, how busy are they, and where is that little block of time, even if it's for an hour here, 30 minutes here. It'd be better if it was minimally an hour. Why I say that is because the test is at least 2 hours and 10, 15 minutes long. So the longer you can get spurts in, the better, because it mirrors that test. So examples are, what you can do, parents, after you've set this up, is weekly check-ins. Just kind of check in with them saying, hey, I was just trying to see how it's going. Anything else you need from me? Something like that. Shared calendars would be good. Maybe they can check off as they do it and you can see it. And that way there's no back and forth communication about, why didn't you do that? Oh, we had it on the calendar. Things like this, and having that battle. Realistic expectations. Those are not good ideas. If your child is very busy, then they need to start earlier in prepping. Instead of 3 months, make it 4 months ahead of the test date. So connection helps students perform better than constant pressure. Again, connection helps students perform better than constant pressure from that parent. So, point 3 I want to make: consistency beats cramming. Talk to them about this. We do executive functioning so we can help your child with any of these skills. But if you want to talk about short, consistent sessions are better, like I just mentioned, instead of block out 3 and 4 hours at a time. That's probably not even really too possible in this day and time with anybody's schedule, including a team. Have some realistic schedules. Maybe on the weekend, they have a little more time. Maybe on a Sunday night, they're much more relaxed and they're willing to do 2 hours then. Balancing sports with school and life is very, very important. They don't want to give up their sports or their practice time. And a lot of times they cannot because their coach is banking on them. They have to come to practice and then they have to do their sports. So 20 to 30 minutes several days a week might have to be the way to go. If they're really busy with football, we have a football star that works executive functioning and tutoring with us, and he knows how to manage his time very well. One focused practice session, maybe do a bunch of little ones, 30 minutes for several days a week, and then one big focused practice session of an hour and a half, 2 hours. Reviewing mistakes strategically, they need to have built in some time to go over these mistakes that they make as well. So here's the key message: burnout rarely produces strong scores. Burnout rarely produces strong scores. Fourth point I'd like to make is about emotional regulation, and that matters more than families think. Sleep is very important, so kids need to get on some type of regimen in terms of sleeping so many hours a night, especially as it leads up to taking the test, the SAT, ACT test, and for sure a week or two before. Routines are important. Once they get into this routine of studying so many minutes a day or every other day, that's very good because it gets them in this groove of studying and thinking that it's possible to do. It builds up their confidence. It's very important. Also, sets a positive mindset going into that test. So we want to keep up with these positive things because that really does matter more than you might think. Recovery after difficult sections. Once they're practicing, they're going to hit a difficult section, right? Everybody's going to hit one. So what's that recovery time after they didn't do so well? So they're not too down on themselves about it. It's more, let them talk to you about it. And it's better that they discuss it because then, you guys can have this realistic conversation about, well, everybody has a difficult section. And so tie in executive functioning, if you can, like talk about planning, organizing, self-monitoring, and motivational systems. I do have a ACT, SAT Essential Student Guide that you can download and get some ideas for motivational systems and things to do all along from 3 months down to 1 month, down to 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week, a few days, or a day before. So students need tools for managing the pressure, not just more practice questions. A lot of it is test anxiety is a big part of this. So if they're feeling stress, pressure, they're not going to do well. So we have some ideas also in my Essential Student Guide for this. We just shared it with one of the students that took the SAT on Saturday. Now, I'd like to invite parents to learn about SAT, ACT prep and the process. Also, if you feel that your child needs some help with organizing and managing a schedule and a test prep schedule, I was talking to somebody about this today, then we can talk about that as well. So that's called executive function coaching support. We can also create some type of summer prep plan for them because everybody should have time to prep starting in the summer. And that's actually a good time while their mind is relaxed. So healthy preparation builds stronger students, not just stronger scores. Healthy preparation, if we think about ourselves, builds stronger students, stronger adults when we're preparing and prepping our health and putting that in the forefront of our minds. That will yield positive results. So please definitely download my SAT Essential Student Guide. Happy to share that with you in the link on the comment section. So look for it there. It's an excellent, this is an excellent transition and helping them figure out what out of that guide they might want to use. Not everything needs to be done. It's about 9 pages long, but that's not necessarily something that you have to employ everything that's in there. So at the end of the day, if this conversation was helpful for you, we created that free SAT ACT Essential Student Guide for families. It does include practical strategies students can start using right away to reduce that stress, improve the preparation, and build stronger testing habits. So I definitely want you all to get that guide since it's free. And please speak to your student about that and see what they feel they might want to do at different points in time leading up to the SAT ACT prep. All right, guys, that was it. I wanted to keep it short since I'm doing this in the evening instead of during the day today due to technology glitches. But we are full steam ahead now. StreamYard knows I'm back. It's reading my camera and my mic. So I'm happy to have come on and share these points and tips with you all. Everybody have a great rest of your week. Next week, I'm going to have a guest joining me, and her name is Dr. Linda Silbert. She's going to talk about why good kids get bad grades. You definitely want to join in with Dr. Silbert when we talk next Tuesday at 12 noon Eastern time. All right, now have a great rest of your day and evening. Bye-bye.